talking with Fit Brain Club about a great event they have coming up, and of course a little bit about dementia and some of the signs in the morning signs that we have. We want to welcome back to the program Grace Carpenter and Dan Daly. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Michael. It's good to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about kind of the big, broad number. You know, how many people in Orange County are affected by dementia? What are our rough numbers about?
I would say right now there are 164,826.
Yeah,
those are the numbers. Okay, we've got some on-point statistics here.
Yes.
But as we have a little chuckle about that, but that's a big number, right? And it's a lot of services that people need in terms of care,
exactly,
and all of those things. And you know, I think that's the thing that is kind of staggering, is that so many people are dealing with dementia, and the care that's involved in making that kind of like okay, or making that help people get through that, right?
Right. That's where the Fit Brain Club comes in.
Right. That's what you guys do a lot.
Well, yes, it's called a club, but there's no fees, no dues, and we're having wonderful turnouts because the speakers that Alzheimer's, Dan and the team provide us with from Orange County are spectacular. Dr. Papard actually is the one who was recommended by Saddleback, even back in the day 6 years ago, for my husband.
And Dr. Kent Papard, I want to make sure, November 13th is going to be at your next meeting,
he's going to be our
Monday.
speaker, and he's well known, as Dan says, for how many years?
Kent Papard has been working with local neurologists for about 20 years now. And he does a lot of cognitive assessments of patients who are just showing signs of confusion, short-term memory loss, and the families are pushing that type of individual to get an assessment. And usually the assessment usually proves Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And you may mention the fact that dementia is an umbrella term. And under that umbrella, 67% of all dementia cases is Alzheimer's.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the big one hanging over a lot of things. So the early diagnosis, how important is that in terms of what can be done from there?
There's our new drug.
Yeah, there's a new drug that was approved back in January. It's called Leqembi, and it's made by Eisai, a Japanese company who happens to be located in North America, and I believe it's Summit, New Jersey. And they alone, it's different from previous drugs in that it attacks the plaque in the brain.
Okay.
And that is
getting rid of those plaques can help keep the connections
important
together for a longer time?
Because the plaque is the one that destroys the neurons. And that leads to a lot of confusion, short-term memory loss, changes in personality. I mean, it's incredible, the change that somebody undergoes with Alzheimer's.
So Grace, tell us a little bit about some of the services that Fit Brain Club has helped provide here in the community, and what they're important ones.
Yes. Typically, I'll get phone calls, and they're hesitant to come to a meeting. And they'll say, well, my mother's just been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but we don't really want people to know about it. And what will it be like if we come to this meeting? How will this help our loved one? And so I tell them about the speaker. First of all, we have Mark Hochberg, while they're signing in, playing some soft, relaxing jazz music. And I always tell them that. I said, you know, there is a sign-in, and it's so important that we have you sign in because we want to follow up with you. And I make home visits if necessary. I do whatever we need to do to help them face the inevitable. That they need us, we need to help them. And the service is fabulous because then we can tie them into our social services, which is part of their HOA to get social services involved for, oh gosh, what do we have? Speaker Karen Rossi, for example, pro bono attorney services. Each month, the speaker will focus on another avenue to help them navigate this road that they're going to travel. So we're usually like the beginning. They'll see the article in the Globe, and then we reassure them that it's going to be a good meeting, and it's free. There's no
Right.
money
And I
involved.
think there's a stigma around, I guess,
Oh,
Alzheimer's still,
oh,
right, in the
yes.
dementia world, and that's why
Yes.
we don't want anybody to know, like, as though they're in the tower in the madhouse or something like
Yes.
that, like
Very-
from the Middle Ages. And I think that's one of the things that bring this to light, and we have these conversations to take
Yes.
away that stigma. There's no shame in this.
And that's
Get the help you need
right.
early
The
up.
family
Yeah.
is very protective in that area. And one of the things that's lacking in a patient with Alzheimer's or dementia, there's a lack of socialization. And what happens is that they're aware of the fact that there's limitations with them. And they don't want to be in public. And that's the worst thing you can do.
Right. You limited the contact, you limited the brain activity, you limited conversations,
Exactly.
the connections they have with the people, and all of a sudden it kind of probably amplifies all of this, what's going on, right?
And
The other
then-
thing
yeah.
I'd mention also is Alzheimer's Orange County, we provide the speakers for the Fit Brain Club. And each speaker has a specialty. And that could be an MD, a PhD like Kent Prapades. We have people from the Council on Aging. They'll come in and they'll talk about scams that are going on.
Right.
So it's a wide variety of topics. And we try to bring in the specialists in that area.
And the family at that initial
Well, the family's
phone call.
the biggest part, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
With dementia, with Alzheimer's, the patient themselves will be able to, less capable as time goes on, to
Yep.
make decisions for themselves and all those things. So the family really, unfortunately, has to be even more involved in,
Right.
in
Yes.
the treatment and the planning, right?
And especially when they go, if it's Kent Papard or whoever, for that initial assessment. His strength, from my experience, is that he takes whatever success the identified patient has on his assessment test. Like for my husband, he was able to count the little tests they do from 100 all the way by 7s or 9s. They give you numbers to.
Okay.
And because my husband was a mathematician, he could do. But then at the end of the test, even though Kent clearly saw my husband had beginning Alzheimer's, he focused on the strength. And he said, I wish I could do that. My husband felt like $1 million. Where initially they don't want to go for the assessment. They resist the assessment. What's
Right.
the use of it? And this is powerful. when
Yeah,
you get a
the
good
assessment,
assessor.
sometimes whoever administers that assessment, it can be frightening. And that's
Right.
why it's
They
very,
don't want
very
it.
important that that individual has a lot of tactfulness and sensitive to the individual.
Right. So Fit Brain Club regular meeting, their monthly meeting on second Monday of the month. This time it's going to be Dr. Kent Prapard going to be on there, November 13th. He'll be over at the Performing Arts Center, Dining Room 2, 10 a.m. is when it's going to start. He'll be doing those assessments for everybody.
Refreshments are provided by Adapt to It.
Okay.
And Starbucks coffee and treats.
Sounds good.
And music. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Fantastic. Well,
Okay.
no more than that. All right. Thanks a lot, Grace and Dan.